party down, location mysterious. Wanna rock this con like my man James Tiberius. Jesse and Marina, they're mad clever like the Negus. Gonna guide you through the scenes, beam from London to Las Vegas. Where to go, how to dress, when to sleep, who to see. Celebs not to miss, Sardis Wong and SMG. Star Trek into awesome, build some memories at last. Set the proper course, the Shore Leave Podcast. Boom.
Welcome to the 77th episode of Shore Leave, your Star Trek Convention Community Podcast. It's been quite a while since we've been on the air, but I think time has finally come that we have something to talk about. I'm Marina Kravchuk, one of your co-hosts, and with me is, as always, the spectacular Jesse Akendo. How are you, Jesse?
Hey, doing great. It's happy to be back. Right? It's all a little surreal right now. So
yes, I have to admit that even though it looks like Vegas is finally happening, I still have this strange sensation as if, is it actually happening? Am I imagining this? Should I be already planning? I should be heavily planning. Like if it were a normal year, I'd be, up to my ears in spreadsheets and t-shirts. But
yeah.
Well, so anyway, here we are.
Yeah, I haven't planned a thing, but I'm counting on this particular podcast to get me excited again. So
yes.
So we have some guests, and we have a lot of guests today, Marina. I don't know if I did this while I was having wine, but here everybody is. So let's start with what I see. So we have Yezenia, one of our often attenders, craft swap queen. I don't know what else to call her except I remember her name tag. So Yezenia, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Yezenia, and I've been to STLV for a few years now, and I'm looking forward to finally going back this year.
Hey, yay. And we also have Ron. Ron is one of our co-admins in the new Star Trek, and I forget what we call the group now, but it used to be
Star Trek Convention Experiences.
Ron, want to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit.
So very excited to be here. My name is Ron. This will be my third STLV, so super excited to get this going.
Fantastic. And we are all excited to have one of our founding podcast hosts, Heather Ray, with us today. Heather, it is so good to have you on the show.
Thank you guys so much. This is always such a pleasure when I get to be on Shore Leave. It makes me so happy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited to be here. This is since we didn't have a convention last year, this is still, I think, my 12th consecutive STLV. Marina, I think you went 1 year more than me, and you're on 13.
The other way around, actually.
The other way.
Yeah, it's going to be my 11th. Yeah, we finally intersected on my first one, I think, the first time we've met in person.
And I have a picture from then.
It's thrilling, but yeah, having that year in between, it's weird. I don't think I can come up with a better word.
It has played games with me this year, this over a year that we've had kids, but I am looking forward to a little normalcy, and I'm hoping the convention brings it. So I like a little numb because I'm like, we're talking about a convention that might actually happen. Like I actually started looking at plane tickets and how long I'm staying, and it's just it's awesome. So Marina, I won't go crazy anymore. You go ahead. Tell us.
No, but you are actually bringing up something that I realized one of the reasons why I'm feeling a little bit out of my normal I suppose process of getting excited for a convention is exactly the same thing. That's the first actual in-person event I'm going to be attending since last year's cruise. So yeah, it's a little bit weird, even though I have everything prepared. All my tickets and bookings got transferred from last year to this year. It does still feel a little bit unreal.
Yeah,
so
Marina, you and I have this special bond because our last convention was the cruise, and our first one coming back is STLV. So, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see. I just want to see Marina to hug her because I haven't hugged her in a while.
I want to see. Yeah, it's going to be a hug fest. I mean, I'm sure we all are mature and reasonable people, and we're gonna of course try to probably use live long and prosper sign or maybe elbow bumps that they used during the cruise, but I am also positive there's going to be
I will be very careful and very cautious, but I'm going to ask everybody if I can hug them even if I don't know them. I think.
So when Jesse and I chatted to see we can finally do another episode, we basically decided that yes, there is still very much limited information on certain things, but at the same time, we have quite a lot of information on other things. And seeing how right around this time we normally do a rundown, like a preparation episode, we figured, well, why not record, our expectations for the newly renamed 55-year mission convention in Las Vegas. So here we are. I suppose we're just going to do sort of a breakdown, rundown of things that we do know for certain, things that are outlined on the website, which as a basis of all things, those people who are new to the convention, who are attending for the very first time this year, I highly recommend that you do read the pages, because everything is outlined there in Q&A and the photographs and the admission tickets page, all the details. But we will run down all the useful bits that we can think of based on our cumulative experience. So shall we start talking about the ticket tiers?
Yep. Yeah, let's go off, because I'm a little confused about them. I'm not confused about them. I'm just like trying to figure out what's different, right? So you get like a dinner with one, a show with another. So I think we need a reminder. So Marina does all the research, so we love her for that.
Well, and then actually I am curious of what everybody else had decided for this year, because things are different in more ways than one. But realistically, by the looks of it, creation did not change much since, well, at least 2019, because that's the last time that we had more or less significant changes with the dinners for the upper tier tickets. But realistically, you have the same thing. You have the gold, you have the captain's chair, you have copper, the general admission for the entire weekend, that is to say for all 5 days of the convention. And then, of course, you have the single day tickets with preferred seating versus just general admission seating. So anybody would like to take the lead and talk about any one of the tiers?
Yeah, so let's, I'm trying to think how to do this. We're not talking all over each other. So let's just do a round robin. So Heather, you want to tell us like what you think you're doing this year for tickets and what you've done, and you've kind of been all over the place, right? You're like me.
Yeah. Yeah, at this point, I think I've done gold 1 year, I've done captains a couple years. I haven't done copper. I've done preferred weekend, and then I've done general admission weekend, and that's very likely what I'll be doing again this year. This year was hard on a lot of our pocketbooks. And so I'm trying to really minimize my expenses, and any other year I would wait for Groupon, but I just don't feel confident that they're going to pop up this year. So I'll probably do GA weekend at some point. I just, I don't know. It's really the best option for me, and I get to kind of go all over the place. I don't sit in a lot of panels, so I like having that ability to just kind of go and come as I please and not have to walk into a whole row of people and disturb everybody to sit down.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So Ron, what do you think you're doing this year, or do you already know?
So I bought my copper ticket like as soon as they went up. The copper seats, I find they're either spectacular. If you're like me, I think I'm row G, so right in the front off to one of the sides, or they're all the way in the back. And I like to get one of the first ones to be right up front. I was gold last year, copper my first year. Gold was nice. I don't know that it was worth the extra like $800. When I look at my budget, I say I basically have X number of dollars to spend, and I'm going to spend it one way or another. And do I want to spend it in the vendor's room, or do I want to spend it on a gold ticket? So for me, it boils down to autographs and photo ops, and I'd rather pick those a la carte. Looking at the Gold Star and Groupon too, so I did some digging in the group last night. It looks like in 2019 they came out on July 9th. Yeah. So about a month out. I think STLV was a week earlier in 2019. So I don't know. I'd be surprised if they weren't listed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yesenia, what are you doing this year?
I am going to go GA. I'm going to hold out for Groupon tickets. I don't think it's going to sell out this year, so I do think that Groupon will be an option. And if not, then I'll buy the GA ticket. But I've done copper twice before, and actually Ron has my exact seat from a few years ago. So I can attest that that's a good seat. And I'm like Ron in that I like copper, but only if I could get certain seats. And I usually miss out on those seats, but I'm not heartbroken by it. It's fine. I like GA because I like to be able to come in and out really easily. I like to be by a certain row or in a certain row to be close to both the exit in case there's a stampede and also by the water fountain. So, or the water dispenser, I should say.
Well, I will tell you, I'm leaning towards GA this year just because I've done gold and captains. I've not done copper, but like, it's like all the cool kids are in GA, you know? So it's like, I don't know if they're the cool kids or the kids that cause trouble, but like I have so much fun back there because you're not like relegated to one seat. So you can hop around and visit around, and one panel visit with these guys and another panel visit with those guys. I actually, when I was captains, I did that. So I didn't really get much out of my captain's chair that year. So
yeah, I was gonna say it. I've sat before with you in GA, and I knew you didn't have a GA ticket back then.
I'm just crazy that way, but
it's true because you can sit with different groups of people, and you kind of get to visit with with more people than you do in kind of married to one chair. I'm sure that the longtime gold holders, they've kind of lived there, for so many years that they've made friends with the people around them. So I could see a value in that. But overall, like I like the freedom. I like the flexibility.
Yeah, and I know Marina, saving the best for last. Marina's got her gold ticket, right, Marina? You're doing
yes. But even though I've done captain's chair and I've done copper, or whatever the previous name for it was, whenever that I had it last time, which was about probably 6 or 7 years ago. But yeah, I had gold for the 2020, and it just, well, I kept it, meaning I did not contact Creation for a refund or anything. You just transferred over to this year. So am I going to keep it going forward? I don't know, because as Yezenia mentioned it, basically, the differences between gold and any other tier is that you go from inclusivity and sort of closer sit, but it also locks you into certain things where, yeah, you probably should get the value out of your ticket, all these panels, and you get all these autographs and everything, versus, once you start swinging towards the lower tiers, you do get more flexibility in terms of moving around. And I find that most people who don't really spend that much time in main theater tend to get lower tiers because you do get, higher flexibility for lower cost for all intents and purposes. So as far as gold's concerned, as I said, it's probably as close to all inclusive. I suppose the VIP experience is probably more inclusive than gold. But the three upper tiers, all, so gold, captain's chair, and preferred, they all have the best part of it is reserved sitting. I suppose that's the one thing that truly sets the Las Vegas convention apart from pretty much any other event. And gold does have those 12, 13 autographs, which at this point, I think we know 12 names. They all listed online. So if you go, it's, highlighted with an asterisk. So, those people, the gold ticket holders, will get to those actors first before anybody else with a PDF or a ticket bought at the door. And of course, we have all the other little perks, such as let's see, what do we have? We have the gold coin, right? That's also the three tiers at the top. We do have the Saturday gala. So pretty much everyone who has reserved sitting can get in, except for the general admissions. You do have to purchase a ticket for the Saturday night gala for that separately. So
Marina, if I can chime in there too, yes. I think the gala ticket, for me, the gala is one of the highlights of the convention.
Yes. I have to agree with that.
I would totally spend, I think it's a $75 ticket. I would totally spend that if I was doing GA. So I look at the copper and I'm like, it's only really $35 more if you add that to it. So for me, it's like, definitely do the copper.
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, out of the package tickets, like if it's not your first time and you don't want to really invest in gold, because let's face it, I mean, it got to a pretty high level at this point. Copper seems to be probably the best package because you get a little bit, the best of both worlds. You have the reserved seat, but you also get to attend the Saturday night gala, and you get the coin and go ahead but you still have enough flexibility to have fun and enjoy your friends. I don't want to really go through every single perk because, again, everything is very clearly outlined on the website. What's more, in Star Trek Experiences group, Ron was very kind to keep a very nice table basically comparing all the different perks versus the different tiers that include them. So please join the group, check it out. We're starting to well, I think things are gearing up. You have noticed that people started to post more, ask more questions. So if you're not sure, both Star Trek Experiences group as well as our sister group USS Rio, plenty of convention veterans. Any questions that you have, always can reach out.
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about a little bit. It's like the elephant in the room. So like, it's like, I'm never not going to say STLV because that's what I grew up with the past few years, but it is a different convention almost. It's our 55-year mission convention, which means, we're not CBS sponsored basically. And the guest list then has expanded to outside of Star Trek a little bit as well, is what I've noticed. How do you guys feel about that? Like, I don't know how to feel. Like, I just want to see the people, so I'm not really too worried about it. But I'm wondering how you guys think, especially you long term.
For me, and I will say I have faith in Groupon now because other people have faith in Groupon. So maybe I'll just wait. So on one hand, like I'm a little sad because I liked so many of the things that CBS brought to the convention that won't be there for this year. And I'm curious to see what Creation, like it seems like Creation's trying to replace a lot of those things with their own version of. But even when it comes to like the banners and the what's the rotunda display, and all that fun stuff, I'm just curious to see what they do, especially after this year. Like I'm kind of expecting maybe a more scaled back event similar to what the convention was the first year it was at the Rio or even back at the Hilton. But like Jesse said, I'm really focused on seeing friends. Like that is my big goal. So there's lots of different panels popping up with podcasters and people that haven't been there for a while and fan film stuff. Have any opinion you would like on seeing those people? But I think I'll be very focused on just seeing friends this year.
Yeah, and and it's important to remember because I actually looked it up and somebody had to set me straight. Just because it's not CBS sponsored doesn't mean CBS can't have a voice or can't be represented. So, I mean, we can see a Star Trek something, we just, I don't think they can say CBS is sponsoring it, but they can still get permission to display, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm sure like they've got all these stars. I'm sure there's still going to be stuff there. Will we see, the Borg regeneration chamber? Who knows? Like that's the stuff that I thought were great additions, but I'm just not sure what capacity we're going to see that this year.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Between the decorations and the things that were specifically brought in by CBS, such as exhibitions, don't forget about those, as well as again, it's like Heather mentioned, we don't know about all the fun photo op spots that we had in the promenade corridor. We'll see if we're gonna get any of that, but yeah, exhibitions or any kind of special announcements or exclusives, that stuff I don't think I'd be expecting, to be honest. On the other hand, I'm almost positive that we're going to see very different vendor room composition in terms of like who's sitting in the vendor room, both between the people who are signing in, because chances are there will be actors that have nothing to do with Star Trek or even necessarily science fiction, which is what the Vegas convention did have. I remember seeing, Virginia Hay. Okay, so she's still part of science fiction, but bottom line is she's not part of Star Trek fandom. Star Trek franchise. As well as, I don't know, I suppose vendors who, I don't know how the approval process worked previously when CBS had a more, stringent hand for the convention. So chances are we're going to be seeing much more variety in terms of what you're going to be seeing. It's not going to be strictly Trek. We'll see.
And I know that Yesenia, you go to other I totally just go to Star Trek stuff since I started. It's probably all I could afford. But you go to like Gallifrey 1 and other things too, right? So you kind of know what to expect a little bit, or is it going to be different, you think?
I've never been to an STLV that wasn't officially sponsored by CBS, so I've heard friends say like, oh, they're excited about seeing the bootleg stuff. So I don't know what the bootleg, like if they're talking about pirated copies of stuff or just non-official kind of merchandise. I don't know. But Gallifrey 1 has a pretty decent vendor's room. It's very tightly packed. There are a lot of like makers that come, like there's one booth that's like sci-fi inspired hats, like she's a little haberdasher. There's several jewelers. There's even one booth where they sell like old fandom t-shirts, which is kind of cool. Like I'm sure they go to thrift shops and then just buy up whatever they can, but it's kind of cool to keep them out of the landfill and stuff. And it's also at a significant discount than buying a new shirt from StarTrek.com or whatever. So if it has that kind of flavor, I think we'll be okay. I'm concerned though that Creation hasn't dropped the prices of their tables. I think a lot of people are still recovering from last year, or actually have not had a chance to recover at all, if we're being honest. If these vendors spend a significant portion of their time at cons and they haven't had any cons at which to sell, I'm concerned that they're not going to have the funds to pay for a table this year. And Creation has not really hasn't had any incentives for them to come back to the vendor's room. So I'm a little bit concerned that the vendor's room is going to be even more, what's the word? Not empty, but just not as well, just not as well represented as in previous years. But I don't know if it does have a flavor of Gallifrey 1's vendor room, that'd be amazing. It's like half the size of STLV. Of course, I can't compare Comic-Con because that vendor's room is ridiculous. Little city. Yeah, I think every other con that I've been to has been like pretty big, so I can't compare, but Gallifrey might be a good comparison.
Marina, what are your thoughts on
Well, as I mentioned, it's probably going to be different. I think that's the word of the year. Different. It feels different. Preparation's different. We don't know enough things, so that's different. So yeah, I'm at this point. I have noticed, a lot of people, especially those who have been to the convention at least once, everybody's wondering about the same thing. What about, in the view of pandemic, what about masking? What about distancing? How it's all going to be? And I don't think we're going to be hearing anything until much, much closer, if not right in front of the event, sort of like expecting the schedule to drop to kind of hear what the protocols will be, if any, because as far as we know, Nevada as a whole is opening. Has opened. So we shall see. We shall see.
Because all the contingencies that we take, they drop pretty quick. Like it's not like we know months ahead what we're going to change, right? So I'm not too much worried about that. I really, like, my big thing is I am a little concerned about not. Usually every year I'm like, oh, these people will come back and those people will come back because they're permanent fixtures of the con, right? And so this year I'm a little concerned because of what we've had to recover through, that I'm not going to see everybody that I want to see. And there's like, those vendors become your family too when you go to those vendor booths and see them, like the people who do the art. Like I bought a fine arts or light arts or whatever they are, and I bought a piece from them and I hang out with them because they're just cool to talk to. And so I just I don't know if they're going to be back, right? And I'm a window shopper. I don't buy a lot at the vendor area, but I love to see what's out there, and then I usually buy it later. So that's
something that I was going to mention between just generally people who are attending, the fans, the vendors, the stars. One thing that I do feel quite sad about, because I've been looking forward to seeing so many people, when 2020 was supposed to be this huge year. I mean, don't ask me how many conventions I had planned. But this year specifically, so Vegas is happening, but we're not going to be seeing our international brethren because a lot of the countries are still closed, or those who do allow some sort of, you can go, you're still kind of limited by quarantine requirements and all sorts of things that literally are making it impossible for international fans to arrive. So somebody who might go will go back to their home country and they will be stuck, they can't afford to spend 10 days, 14 days, whatever, stuck in a quarantine in a specific hotel, for instance, both money wise and time wise. So it's become quite an issue. I have no idea how it's being handled in terms of, those who did have, for instance, gold or any other kind of ticket that got transferred to this year and now people can't travel. So again, I'm kind of hoping that perhaps someone will, or perhaps Creation will make an announcement. I have no idea. But I do feel sad because I was so looking forward to seeing, folks from Scotland and Australia, everybody that I see normally, when we're sharing drinks in Masquerade. So yeah, that's a sad part.
Yeah. So what do
I
you
think
think?
it's going to
Go ahead, Ron.
It's going to be interesting too. I think a lot of people, 2020 was a bad year for a lot of people with money. And I think that you'll see a lot of people that might start planning for Star Trek missions in Chicago already and kind of looking at that as the substitute. So I'll be anxious to see how many people skip the Vegas convention in lieu of going to Chicago next year. And then as far as Creation losing license, you look at the space, like the bridge from the Enterprise, that occupied a huge amount of space that I'd imagine Creation still has that space. So it'll be interesting to see what, like Yezenia mentioned, the bootleg version, will we see a bridge from a fan film? Everything in the corridors, they're going to want to fill that space with something. So kind of what goes into those locations. It's just, they have a lot of space, it seems they have to fill that. So it'll be fun to see what they put.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. So, Marina, I know on our little list we were talking, you have here. What do you think? So I'm a big photo ops guy. I'm not so much the autograph person, but I love my photo ops. And I'm excited actually this year because there's a lot of people that I normally wouldn't see, but they're starting to come. But I'm wondering what those look like. Have you talked to anyone? I mean, I know there's been like smaller conventions out there with, but I don't know how those photo ops are going to go.
That is the biggest question because realistically, I mean, can you imagine, paying money for a photo op and you come in and everybody has to be masked and standing, at least 3 feet away from each other. Nobody's going to go for that. It would be a pretty big scandal, I would think. At the same time, funny that you should mention this. One of my friends recently attended Monster Mania, which they did outside. So that way, the outside air, technically speaking, if you're vaccinated and you're outside within specific distance of other people, you don't have to wear a mask, at least here in New Jersey. It's a New Jersey convention. But everybody was masked. And I asked, well, what did you do about photo ops? I don't believe there were official ones. So it's mostly, you can just go up, the usual thing, get the autograph at the stars table and have a selfie. And they did selfies in masks. So I do not see that happening in Vegas. I'll be honest with you. I'm sure maybe they will have some sort of like distance. So you're not hugging person. Well, let's face it. I mean, quite a few invited actors actually do have some limits where they say, please don't approach them. There's no meaning approach in the sense like don't start hugging them. Don't start getting into their personal space. It's going to be interesting to see if there will be some sort of protocol for the photo ops. But at this point, everything is pure conjecture. Until we know officially, we don't know.
Yeah, and I don't expect that we're going to really know until like...
Yeah, but I highly doubt that it would be something like that. I mean, this particular convention, it literally happened like a couple of weeks ago. So it's still very much within the framework of all the limitations, again, with the masking and the social distancing. So, but it was a little bit sad to see because I'm like, I realize I know who this actor is, and I can tell because I know what he generally looks like. But the person who doesn't know, like, could be anyone behind that mask.
It'll be interesting.
Are you planning any specific photo ops? I'm actually wondering, like, did people invest in tickets for photo ops or autographs, or are you basically waiting out until you actually get there and buy at the door?
I've seen names that I've just like checked on a list, but I haven't done anything yet because I wanted to see what the protocols were going to be. I mean, I'm sorry, but I just don't want a photo op with me in a mask and them in a mask. I wouldn't mind a photo op where like they're behind plexiglass, like at Walmart, everybody's behind plexiglass. I think I'm okay with that because I mean, some of these actors need extra protection, just like some of our attenders need extra protection. So I'm okay with that. I just like the photo ops about me are the reactions, right? And just seeing them smile and seeing your reaction to them. Like my first photo op was Nichelle Nichols, right? And like, I can't see my eyes because I'm so excited to see her, because I'm so like, my smile is so big, my eyes just like hid in my head. And like, I love that, to not be able to see my expression of somebody that I admire. I don't want to do that. So I at least want to know that we can see each other. I don't need to touch anybody. You know, I totally respect that. I just want to be able to enjoy that moment where, you know.
Yeah, and it is actually a doable thing. I've been to photo op sessions where it was specifically, that was the rule. They said, yes, you please say hi and everything, but there's no touching, no hugging, and don't stand too close. For various reasons. I mean, and I'm gonna say, in my own experience, probably 2 or 3 photo ops like that. So yeah, I suppose if the person is sitting and there is that plexiglass screen, yeah, that could work. But we still will. Listen, we're at the, as of this point, we're less than 3 months away. So let's see what they're gonna come up with.
Yeah. So anyone else with photo op concerns, ideas?
I think that Marina is correct, and Creation probably will not be enforcing any kind of rules like that if the state of Nevada and the city of Las Vegas are not. So I'm fully vaccinated, and my understanding is that, you're pretty safe overall. I hope that the guests that come have also been vaccinated, and that we can have photo ops without masks, because I'm going to try to share one with my friend April, for David Ajala.
Yeah.
And we both have matching grudge shirts. So it's like,
Aw.
oh, please, I want this moment to come true. Like, I'm trying to feel really hopeful and have no to low expectations about the experience. But to piggyback Marina, I'm also sad not to see all of our friends from outside of the US. Even our Canadian friends are stuck right now and unable to travel without like a lot of protocols. So I just hope that we, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to hope for a great time, and then an even better time in 2022.
Yeah. Well, speaking of guests, we do have quite a substantial list. Now, I did have it written down as 119, but actually, just as we were about to start this recording, they posted that, unfortunately, due to professional reasons, Ethan Phillips canceled. So we're down to 118. Seeing that I can't really think of any other event that would normally have 118 guests, I think we're quite ahead of the curve. Anyone you're particularly looking forward to? I don't know. I mean, as usual, we will get the Q&A panels and some special presentations for various events. But any particular guests you're really looking forward to seeing?
I'm really excited to see the folks from Picard. This is going to be the first con that we've had since that show's kind of been on the air. And considering they're in development right now, they have a lot of that cast coming. So that's really exciting.
I'm excited to see Kelsey Grammer, because he's still on the list, right?
Yes.
And Oded Fair, because I love him from so I'm excited about that. And Penny Johnson Gerald is also coming, which I've never seen her at a con.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah. I might if she does a photo op, I might try to get an Orville doctor costume made, hopefully.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun idea.
And then I guess Ben Vereen, has he ever been to an STLV? Not that
I don't believe so. I think he was advertised as a first-time attendance, for last year, obviously. And so he's doing, and it's exciting because he's also part of the, he's doing the concert during the gold dinner. So that's going to be very interesting.
I'm really looking, so I've just been following him since everything happened, but Kenneth Mitchell, I want to see him again. He's so open about everything, and so it'd be nice to talk to him. And Bluebill Barrio, I would love to have a photo. That would be fantastic, just because I just admire everything that they're doing there. So I'm just looking forward to that. and Michelle Hurd. So like I've already got a list that is too long. So
Yeah, well, it's good to have a long list. That's why I do spreadsheets. My life is in spreadsheets. No, but I have to actually second a lot of what Yesenia said. I was thrilled when they announced Odette Fair because I adore him. And Penny is wonderful. I loved her in Castle as the captain, the police captain. So as a matter of fact, one of my friends who happens to be in New Zealand, so for him, travel in the regular year is quite a bit of trouble. He actually reached out to me to see if I can grab the autograph, because she hasn't really, I can't think, well, let's see, definitely not within the last 12 years, let's put it that way. She has never been in Vegas, at least in 12 years. And I don't think so before then either. So I'm really looking forward to meeting her. I also am happy that they added Janet Kidder, because I know some people were like, oh, she's very, I don't know, comic book style villain and all that. I loved her as a villain in the 3rd season of Discovery, the big green bad. So yeah, I'm really looking forward. And of course, all the old favorites that, being a Voyager and TNG fan, I'm really looking forward to just, yes, I've seen them all so many times and met them all so many times, but I still enjoy, it's like family reunion, basically.
Yeah.
So,
what I'm hoping for? I think it'll be really interesting this year to hear about what people got up to during the pandemic. Like, I don't know how much one-on-one time we're going to get with certain people, but like Gates McFadden has a new podcast called Investigates, where she's interviewing all of her best friends from the show. And like, Garrett and Robbie McNeil like started there. I mean, I think, it happened during COVID. So I think it'll just be very healing almost to hear from them how they managed and what they got up to. And so I hope that there's room in some of the panels to talk about those things, because I'd certainly love to hear it. And I have to tack on Rebecca Romaine, like, hello. Yeah. I'm so excited to see her. And then I think everyone that y'all mentioned are the people that I had on my list. Like, everybody loves Odette. He's just gonna have a giant, like all of us are gonna group together and just be his fan club. But that's it. That's all I had to say about that.
He probably does not even realize.
Heather, do you know if Cheerfleet's going to plan anything? I know they've been out, like, I miss Cheerfleet. Like, I don't know why, but like them and the zombies, like, they have to do something.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the people that were behind both Zombies and Cheerfleet, my good friend Damian Ann, being one of them, hasn't been back to the convention, and we're not quite in a situation to like we don't have a set up organization or rules or anything like that. We've always just gathered together and we've done our cheers and, do our thing, and that's kind of it. And so right now I haven't seen anything. I'm sure that people will still bring their stuff, but I think with a lot of these groups, like, we rely on kind of new people coming in and old people showing up. And I think with some things, like for me, after I did it for several years in a row, I wanted to do something else. So I'm hoping that we'll get, more of a presence and maybe sometime in the future, but like without that strong leadership behind it, it just kind of ends up, being a group of fun. It's still fun. But I don't know of any plans, unfortunately.
That's all right. It sounds like we're looking for a volunteer.
Yeah. Yeah. And anyone can reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with Damien. But it's a tough thing. And over the years, when you get busier, and STLV grew and got busier and busier, right? So I think that's one of the lovely things about our community is we get lots of new people every year, and people kind of moving into different roles and stuff. So if you'd like to apply for Cheerfleet, please reach out. All you have to do is say, I want to be in Cheerfleet. We have a Facebook group, which is just Starfleet cheerleaders or something. So look for us there, and hopefully we'll get something, at least a small group.
I'm a member, but my uniform's too big for me now. So I next for the next.
I have the opposite problem. Mine is so I'm going to try to squeeze into my top, and I'm gonna wear the men's pants.
Yeah.
If we do get together.
Hey, yes. What are you guys doing for the crap? I can't say crap swap anymore. I know I saw something saying that it was, we're starting to talk about it, but are you starting to get feedback on that? Because I think this year I may want to do something.
Yeah, I totally plan on still having it. We're discussing how to do it. I'm not going to have quite as much help because Lucinda isn't going this year. She's the co-admin. So I'm recruiting somebody else to help out, and we're just kind of barely talking about how the logistics might work. So for right now, I'm just getting a feel for how many people plan on participating. I'm undecided whether I want to advertise it anymore for this year, just because last year it was like Black Friday, so it was very crowded, very everybody was crowded together. So I'm concerned about crowding because of COVID, obviously. So right now I'm just getting a feel for how many people are planning on going and whether we can manage the same kind of free for all that we've had before, which is great, but we may have to just divvy it up a little bit. So right now the official answer is we're still working on logistics.
Yeah. Hopefully, once we know how many people actually plan to participate, maybe it's not every day. Maybe we can just do select days.
That's what we're thinking. We're thinking probably maybe sign up for a certain day, and then we'll have to hold people to that. And that might be where the problem comes in, because I don't know how much, policing I can do. Now, you guys know I'm very vocal and I will, slap the band hammer, but in the moment it's very difficult to keep things organized, but we'll see what we can do.
Well, now that we started talking about the fan events, that certainly is always a huge part of Las Vegas convention, but this year obviously things have slowed down quite significantly. I mean, by this time we probably would have a thread full of all the different meetups and events and the parties and get-togethers. So far the only ones that we do know of, we are planning to do Newbies and Solo Travelers meetup, which is it has this fancy name, but it's really just a icebreaker type, come whenever you want, leave whenever you want.
And even that one, I was I'm not concerned about it by any means.
But it is something just to put, kind of put it out there, especially for those who are indeed newbies. At least, here we are.
In the past, so many people show up, and I'm like, oh, that might not be good.
we are doing 2 this year, correct? The Tuesday night before and the Wednesday night.
But I'm also worried about, not worried, let's be honest, not worried, but I'm wondering what the masquerade situation is going to be too, right? Are we
as far as it looks like masquerade is open and ready, at least based on the photos from the locals who
I'm just thinking about the crowding that we usually cause.
iBar is thankfully much more manageable than masquerade in that regard, so I'm glad that we always hold it there.
I set up both of the events for iBar with the location to be determined based on what we see. And I do feel it's always important to say that these are bars. So one is they're both, smaller bars, but there's still room to move around, at least in iBar. You don't have to be a drinker to go. They can be loud. So I do want to give a shout out to Ali Ingman, who is in both our group and the USS Rio group. And it looks like she's working on establishing some other meetups, scavenger hunt events that we might normally do. That I am so grateful that she is working on, because I know for people who don't like the bar scene.
Exactly. I was going to bring this up. I mean, specifically, and for those who are intimidated by very large groups in particular. So she had a brilliant idea of, doing smaller sized events to basically accomplish the same thing, get people together and do something fun. So huge thanks to her. She's part of the local Star Trek club, USS Las Vegas, who these guys are amazing. Every year for the past, I don't know how many now, they've been publishing a convention guide with all the what's in, hows, which I know she mentioned, I saw in one of the comment threads, that they will be releasing a revised version for this year. So I'm really looking forward to that, because I'm sure as we get closer, more and more questions will start to pop up, and it's wonderful to have someone who's local to the convention, because they will probably pick up on some of the details, especially like transportation, that sort of stuff that we might not be aware of until we actually get there. So what else,
aren't they? Like, I see them, it's almost like every week they're posting about, they're scouting, right?
Ali posted some photos I've seen of, as far as what we're talking about masquerade. Also shout out to Sarah Gale Evans. She's been checking out things and basically being on the lookout for the important information. Going back to Ali, she's also the one organizing the away mission to Walmart. And that is something that a lot of people, especially if you've been once, you know that having snacks or just generally, your own bought drinks and food sometimes is important. Well, actually, for a lot of people, it's important because, the day goes by so quickly, you forget to eat, you forget to drink, and you really shouldn't. And it's much easier to actually make a stop at Walmart, or if you don't want to do Walmart, there was also Walgreens and CVS and everything else available in Las Vegas, and just stock up on, water or any other kind of fizzy drinks or snacks or anything.
Yeah, because I don't think we're going to know the food situation until closer.
As of right now, again, based on the reports from local fans, the things inside, at least food spots inside Rio itself are closed. So Hash House is not there, and it's there. It's just they're not accepting anyone.
Can I ask really quick? Sorry, do you guys know if the poker tournament thing that usually precedes STLV, is that happening there at the Rio this year?
Oh, that is a good question. I think you know what? I'm actually gonna put it on my list of things to check out, because that's a good point. I want to say probably yes, seeing that the Rio is fully open, and I guess they're open to events as well.
Yeah, they're going to be there. I just looked it up.
So I'm wondering if they're just going to concentrate their efforts on opening all the other places, or at least some of the eateries and stuff, once they start getting in the bigger crowds, like the poker tournament and stuff.
Yeah, they did. They look like they're rescheduled though, so they're after us this year. They're in September. It looks like.
Okay, interesting.
I just can't imagine that they would host a convention that they know will have an audience of people, and not at least have like some staples like Hash House and some of the other, like, I don't know if Smash Burger's still there, but like some things open.
I hope Smash Burger's still there.
Yeah.
Smash Burger in my city closed down. Just when I got to it, it's closed.
So did several here, and I'm like, did they go under? So I don't know, because what are we gonna do for?
Yeah, maybe not the buffet. I can understand the buffet being dicey, but like a burger place would be nice. Quarks would be nice.
Yeah.
They even had salads now. And they could.
Yeah, well, remember it's Jimmy's Place now.
Oh yeah.
I'll say too, one of my favorite hacks for food at the con is to use like Postmates or Uber Eats. There's a lot of restaurants that are open right now within driving distance that, for a $2 or $3 fee, they'll bring the food right to the hotel. At least they did at the Gold Coast. Haven't done it at the Rio yet.
I've done it at the Rio, where we've gotten like the 30-inch pizza as a group.
Yeah, I do that too, and I also highly recommend Instacart. So what I do, and I'll probably do it again this year, is I'll just take my friends over to the grocery store, because I have my car. We'll go to the grocery store the first day, like Monday or Tuesday or whatever. And then after that, I'm not driving anymore. So I just order from Instacart, and I let people know, okay, I'm ordering. If you want to add anything to the order, feel free. But
but I also have to say, has anyone ever seen Yezenia like show up to the con? It's like she's moving in for a month.
I'm moving in for 9 nights. So yeah.
She's got like the trolley cart and everything. I'm amazed. Like, you outdo Larry Nemechek, and he brings a lot of stuff in.
I'm happy to report my red wagon will make a reappearance at STLV.
Oh gosh. Well, I miss you guys so much. I'm so happy that we're talking about this stuff.
Yes. To finish off the events, before I forget, because I just wanted to point out again something to keep in mind, that there are these two very useful groups online. USS Rio has pretty much almost the full roster of their usual events as well. So if you're wondering, is the dinner before happening? Is the breakfast after happening? Is the pool party happening? So far, it's all planned. I mean, I think the details are very much pending. Again, it's all very fluid until we know more, but it's all there. So come on in, join the groups, check out the events tabs. As far as
sorry. Oh, sorry, Marina.
No. I was gonna say, like, the two parties that are my personal favorites, to be honest. And I dearly hope that they will happen. And that is, of course, the landing party, which is the night before, when we all pre-registered and arrived and, in our rooms and have fun with Larry. And of course, the fan sets party. But, well, I should rather call it fan geeks, because it's the Trek geeks and fan sets do it together. But I haven't heard anything yet. And I'm kind of keeping all my fingers crossed to see if it's, hoping that it will happen.
They're still looking for a venue. So
yes. Yeah, that's what I heard.
But I did want to speak to a couple of things that are definitely planned. Yeah, I know you mentioned the Rio's events, but the Rio and Body by Starfleet, it's posted in both groups. We're still doing the strip run / walk. So just for any newbies that are listening right now, that is on Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. And that is comprised of one group running part of the strip early in the morning before it gets super hot, and then a group of us walk. So that's doable. It's not like a super slow touristy kind of walk, but it's a nice way to see Vegas before it gets hot and crowded. I should say the strip before it gets hot and crowded, and also to meet people, because it's more relaxed and we're walking for, I don't know, like an hour. So there's that option.
Yeah, I've never done that walk. And I don't know that I'm doing it this year, but we'll try. I'm always on my calendar, and I always sleep through it. So.
Yeah, I think that there are things like still in development, and people as like Trek geeks are having difficult times finding places to host events that don't cost an arm and a leg. And so I am really hopeful that we will see some of the normal stuff.
I really do hope those things happen, because they've become a fixture. I mean, landing party has been going for 11 years now, 10 years, something like that.
Yeah.
I think the first time it happened was probably my first time in Vegas, or the second time. So it's a fixture, it's one thing that everybody's looking forward to. I mean, once you've gone once.
I would hope that, whether Roddenberry shows up or not, that Larry still would, since he is Dr. Trek and he is a staple. But yeah, I haven't seen anything from the Roddenberry crew on either whether they'll be there as vendors or bringing the podcasts and stuff. I hope so, but I don't. There's just so much that we don't know. So I just keep being hopeful, darn it.
I think this will be the year of last minute things.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Well, something I was going to say, since we already touched upon, Rio, Gold Coast, we mentioned those. I'm wondering, where is everybody staying this year? Because this is, again, it's quite different this year than normal, in the sense that, well, I'm going to make a blunt statement that I'm quite disappointed with the convention, and I'm making quotation marks in the air. The convention rate is surprisingly bad this year. I actually managed to get a much better rate elsewhere, whereas normally it's kind of sort of, I am not in any of the reward points programs, because I don't do the points often enough, and they just kind of go into ether. I don't collect them. But regardless, I mean, normally the con rate would be kind of like reasonable. Not this year, which is very, very surprising. I would think that they would work harder on making sure people actually use the convention rate. Are you staying in Rio? Are you doing Gold Coast? Which, incidentally, shout out to Missy Kilgore, who again has negotiated a special Gold Coast rate. So those who are still looking for the hotel, make sure to check it out.
I've got my reservation at the Rio, but not to drop the hammer or anything, but I'm not sure that I can do my usual 10 days. So I did just start a new job this week, and we're in that stage where they don't know I'm a Star Trek fan yet. So we'll see how that goes before I tell them I've got a family, quote unquote, family reunion that's already planned. So that's usually how I get around it. But either way, I'll be there for the newbies thing because I work from home, so I can work during the day and be there for the newbies thing. I don't mind doing that. I just have to see if I can be there the whole time, or if it's, if I can't, like if it works out. So I'm just crossing my fingers and seeing what happens.
What about everybody else? You staying in the Rio or Gold Coast?
Looking to save money. I'm staying with a roommate and they have made the reservations. But yeah, the rate was not all that great. And then every year the resort fee has gone up and up and up and up. So I do recommend like checking on your bookings here and there. But while I'm staying at the Rio, and I do that because I have a disability and I had 2 surgeries this year and I'm still recovering. So I want to be right there and like be able to go up to my room quickly. I think that had I not found a roommate, that the Gold Coast probably would have been my option this year.
Yeah, and I do want to reiterate what Marina said, because it's true. Like, even though I don't know what my full schedule is, I probably go in every other week and just check on the rates, and they do fluctuate, and they fluctuate outside of the convention rate. So
very much so. As a matter of fact, this whenever this episode goes live, I hope that this rate is still there. Rio is having a summer kickoffs sale at the moment, and right now that's the lowest where I got the rate. I literally was on the phone with Rio about 3 days ago as of this recording, and they were quite happy to adjust my rate to a lower value. So at this point, between the convention rate, which I had, let's see, I originally had my reservation done December or January with the convention rate, which there was a different sale event, and now this one. And I basically dropped about $300, somewhere between $300 and $400 for 7 nights. So I'd say that's a substantial amount of money. You can buy a whole nother, ticket package for that kind of money. I am staying in Rio, same thing, due to, I'd like to be closer to my room. And generally during the convention hours, I don't like to leave the hotel and be outside. So I am staying in Rio. Yesenia, you staying in Rio? You do Gold Coast, right?
No, I only did the Gold Coast the first year, which I loved because it was so cheap, and I and they even fed me. It was amazing. But no, I stay at the Rio just for convenience. But yeah, I don't know what prompted me to check the rates. I had booked, I want to say in February or January, and I checked the other day and stumbled across that sale. And on top of the sale, there was an added 10% first responder, nurse, doctor, government worker discount that I utilized. And so I'm springing for a bigger room this year as a treatment for myself, because I had a rough year and I didn't spend any money. So I was, I paid or was willing to pay a ridiculous amount for a masquerade suite, but through that sale and through that added 10%, which was on top of the rate from what I saw, I was able to save like $1,000, more than $1,000. I want to say it was 1,100 something off of that room. So yeah, I'm going to keep checking. But somebody brought it up yesterday that if you turn off your cookies while you're checking for rates, then the site thinks this is the first time that you're looking. And so they're going to give you a better discount. And if you have been looking on the same computer or the same account, whatever, I don't know much about cookies, but if you've been looking on the same site for the same type of room, that the rates keep going up. And so I've actually had that happen to me before. So I didn't know anything about the cookie situation. So that might be something worth looking into.
Interesting hack. I like that.
And in case the sale rate does end soon, those people who are in various rewards programs always mention that they normally get much better deals through those rather than convention rates. So if you have one of those for Caesar's properties or something else, always makes sense to also double check and compare.
Yeah, I've heard that too, but that never works out for me. I always get a higher rate when I go through the Caesars rewards. Although another hack is my friend said that he gambled the last time he was at the Rio, he gambled I think $300 that year with his rewards card or whatever, and that after that he got offered a really, really, really good deal on his room. Like, I don't want to mention how much, but it was ridiculously cheap. So that might be not to encourage people to gamble, but if one is in Vegas gambling, do it at the Rio and do it with your Caesar Rewards card, and that might help get you a discount for the following year.
It does, because this is the first year I can't use it because I wasn't there the year before, and I gambler, I admit it, slot machines, but I always get a good rate. So I think it's a good idea.
Well, let's see. As far as the hotels are concerned, we touched upon on most things, except for transportation, which at this point, well, it's the usual selections. I did poke around Caesar's website to see if there was anything. I mean, there used to be a direct shuttle, for instance, between the Rio and Strip, which obviously hasn't been there for years now. But as far as getting there from the airport, well, taxis is the usual thing, which is probably the pricier option. There are shuttles, and I looked at it and I still recognize, I think it's still the same companies like Deltrans, that sort of stuff. They're still running. And of course, Uber and Lyft. The only problem is that make sure to check out where the pickup locations are in the airport, because they still have a specific pickup spot. It's not the same place as the taxis.
I had some friends visiting Vegas recently too, and they said that it didn't seem like they had the same number of Lyft and Uber drivers as before. And hopefully this changes by August, but they were saying it was a really long wait to get rides using the apps.
Yeah, that's been a nationwide problem. I understand. But yeah, so I'd hate for people to rely on the past rates of Uber and Lyft, and also the past availability of them. So I don't know. I think it might be better for people to book a shuttle in advance and just know that they're going to be, ready to go to their hotel instead of waiting around and hoping. Because I mean, even I tried to get a Lyft a couple weeks ago, and it took 45 minutes to get one, and that's in LA. So I don't want people to be waiting in that heat, especially.
Yeah.
I think, some things are going to be different, but the old standbys are there, like the cabs will still be there. And, when you look at the prices of Uber versus the cab or everything, I've done both, and I've done the shuttle, and they all get you to the same place. And when you look at it, the cost difference isn't that significant unless like you're that tight, which I was my first year. So, but I did that shuttle the first year and it was $7. I remember, but it took me 45 minutes to get to my hotel because I was the last hotel on the side, and I was with a bachelorette party who was not quiet. I'll just say that. So.
Yeah, I used to love the shuttles because it would just get me into that Las Vegas mood. You drive through and you look at the other properties where it's, stopping by, dropping people off. And then it got to a point where I'm like, okay, it's my 7th Vegas, 8th Vegas, chop. I'd rather get to the hotel and see if I meet up with people I know and go off and do fun stuff on the Strip. So I think my sister and I started to just do the taxi, only, always saying it's like, please do not take the highway. I remember one of the conventions, I think it was 2018, I want to say, there was 3 or 4 of us in the taxi. We were splitting and we were chatting, so we weren't paying attention, and at some point I lift my eyes and I'm like, we're passing by Bellagio. That bleep took us via highway, so obviously now we're taking the long way around and it's gonna be more expensive. And I don't want to sound petty, I did not leave any tip because I was that angry. Because it's a known thing. They do that on purpose. But good, regardless.
He already took his tip anyway.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. On the other hand, I once got very lucky with the shuttle where I was the only person at that particular point, and the guy was like, well, okay, let's go. So I was the only person who went straight from the airport into to the Rio for $7 or $7.50, whatever it was at the time.
I'll say too, there's also the rideshare post in the convention group. Mm-hmm. So anyone that goes in there just types in rideshare, it pops up. People can share the taxi rides.
Yeah, it makes sense to split with someone, even if it's whether it's a taxi or anything else. It makes sense.
We have the rideshare post and the room sharing post, and I think I'm starting to see a little more action on those. So that'll be good.
Yeah. And the group, the ticket sales group started to pick up a little bit. People kind of perked up now that the gold tier is currently sold out, which, as we all know, that's not set in stone. More tickets will probably appear via auctions that they start up closer to the convention. So, but I see more people kind of asking around for this and that. So
and just FYI, because I got this a couple of times from folks in the buy sell group. So when you post something now in Facebook and you edit it, it goes for reapproval. So someone posted something and wanted to update that they've got like an offer or something, and then the post disappeared on them because they had to wait till it got reapproved again. So that's just the behavior of Facebook. We can't control that on the group, but I'd almost suggest just put a comment and let people keep up by the comments, so you don't have to deal with that. But I wanted to share that with everybody since I heard about it twice this week.
Something I wanted to jump off because we kind of stopped talking about the guests and everything, but obviously scheduling, same deal as always. I mean, there is the standard phrase, we're not going to be expecting anything until sometime a week before, to probably less, but they do mention the various special events. 2021 happens to be a year of many anniversaries, so I'm assuming there's going to be hopefully more stuff added. But I actually made the little list, and it's quite impressive. So we have 55th anniversary of the original series, 35th of the Voyage Home, 30th of the Undiscovered Country, 25th of First Contact, 20th anniversary of Enterprise, 5th of Beyond, and Creation is celebrating their own 50th anniversary and the 20th anniversary of having a large Las Vegas convention. Plus, this year William Shatner turned 90, and it's the 100th anniversary of Gene Roddenberry's birthday. So, oh my goodness! Not to mention, and I kind of am hopeful that something will happen. Well, I almost used a really bad word. My apologies. But Voyager really got the fuzzy end of the stick. We never had the 25th anniversary. So I'm wondering if that's also going to be a part of the thing in some form. What are you feelings about all these anniversaries, and out of the panels that they do mention, the specials, anything in particular, catching your eye?
For me, I was happy that I was on the cruise for Voyager's 25th, because that's the last time we heard about it.
Yeah, but it wasn't the same thing because it wasn't the entire cast.
No, but like what I do, I don't think that we're going to be celebrating as much as we want to. And I know there's a lot to celebrate, but I just feel like it's like we took a break. And by we, it's just a general fan we, right? So like these celebrations didn't happen virtually for most part, and they may happen in person, but I think the fans are going to have to do more of the heavy lifting to actually get a presence of a celebration, because I just don't see it happening from the studios or from, the bigger organizations. I mean, I think we're just going to have to make it happen if we're going to make it happen. Like when Cheerfleet brings Chase Masterson an outfit, that kind of thing. I think we'll have to do something like that to get some attention.
Thanks for the pressure. Now I gotta fundraise for a Cheerfleet uniform for David Ajala or something. I'm gonna wait until closer to the convention, because I'd like to posthumously celebrate Leonard Nimoy's 90th birthday. And I think that the Saturday Night Gala sounds really cool, but I'm not going to be buying a ticket for that. 100 years of Roddenberry and his centennial. I'm curious to see what they end up doing for that. I don't know if they have announced yet if they're going to screen Nichelle's documentary, Women in Motion. I think that would be cool if they did that.
I agree.
I'm not interested in Survivor's Cabaret with Alexander Enberg and Kendra Munger as they present. Like, it sounds like a, very touching play if you read the synopsis, but Pop Hero Coalition I'll support every day of the year. So but some of this other stuff I'm just kind of like, like I'd rather go have coffee with a friend during that time. Except the science panels. I'm looking at the science panels now. We want to do the science panels.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. My I always enjoy when there is actual science presence at the conventions. So I think out of the conventions that I attended, I think AwesomeCon has probably the greatest presence for sciences.
And I'm totally cool with Erin coming back. Dr. Erin, she needs to come back and
Yeah.
Yes, please. The more science, the better, and she's the best.
well, she does the awesome wine tasting or whiskey tasting. I forget what it was, but I had fun.
Whiskey. So Dr. Noor and Dr. Williams, who are both members of the group, I believe, and friends, they usually come, and Erin is right there with them. But Erin has had an absolutely amazing year and is very busy. And so I hope that if she's not at it, it means that she's doing lots of really cool things. It has just been a phenomenal experience to see her rise to now like working on Star Trek, and working with CBS and doing many other things. It's always really cool when that stuff happens to awesome people like Dr. Erin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's start with Ron. Last thoughts.
It feels like we're so close now after almost 2 years without a convention. I think it's going to be great. The panels, they look interesting. I personally am looking forward to it's going to sound funny, but looking forward to a mundane convention. I'm looking forward to just the routine of going into these panels and seeing these faces of people we haven't seen for 2 years and having that sense of normalcy that's been gone for the last 2 years. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm so super excited.
So Yesenia, what are you have parting thoughts for us?
Yeah, same as you guys. I'm just excited to get back to this, like, I don't know, just what gives us all joy. Like we, look forward to this. And I think we all have gotten so used to this being such a part of our lives that we spend so much time talking about it, preparing for it in the time and the months leading up to it, and then talking about it once it's over, that not having had it last year and all the craziness and the trauma of last year has made it, I think, that much more special. And I'm so excited that the group is starting to, pick back up again. Usually by now there's been, a lot more chatter, but I think because everyone was so unsure of anything that, so it's really lightened my mood to see people starting to plan. I'm in much better spirits now than I was a few months ago. So I'm very excited to be able to plan for something finally.
Amen.
And I would just like to have just, I don't know, kind of remind everybody to just have some grace. There will be some of us that will still be masking, and hopefully that's okay. And there are going to be some people that will not mask and have not masked, and we now have to just be okay with that because COVID's never going away. So we just have to take whatever precautions we feel are necessary to protect ourselves and our families, and we cannot control anyone else. So we just have to do the best that we can for ourselves. Yeah. And that is a very generous statement, if you remember what I was screaming about a few months ago.
Yeah. And we can't forget that Yesenia is one of our frontliners. Yesenia, we really appreciate. I know it's been a challenge, and I know it's been a lot of patience and a lot of energy and a lot of strength that you have in spades. So thank you so much for being on the front lines this whole time. And I hope that this convention can let you relax a little bit. I want to see you smile and relax just a little.
Yeah, I hope so too, but thank you. I appreciate that.
And Heather, last thoughts?
I'm just really excited. It took me a long time to decide, but the fact that we're doing pretty well in vaccines and the safety that we're told we have being vaccinated, I feel more and more confident. STLV fills my cup. And I think that for people who maybe have never been, it's somewhat hard to understand just how much of a positive experience the convention is for us. And then on top of having been going so many years, like, this is a family, And it's, once you get there, you will get pulled into that family and hopefully get to experience what we all have. But yeah, this year really probably one of the lowest years that I've ever experienced. And missing STLV, not having the convention last year definitely contributed to that. So I feel like this is going to be, regardless of how small a convention, probably one of the most significant years in all the years that I've been going. So I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone. And I love Yezenia's advice of having some grace and being kind and remembering that we've all been through a lot. And, we don't need to yell at people at the convention. Like, let's just be nice to everybody and have a wonderful time.
Yeah, and we are definitely, from the admin side, keeping the group drama free. So thank you to everybody for helping us with that. So Marina, your last thoughts. And Marina, before you speak, that I feel like through osmosis, you tell Olga what we think about her sacrifice and her service in the medical field. So remember to give her a big hug for me when you see her again.
Will do. Thank you so very much. I can only second what was already been said. In terms of the convention itself, I am mostly looking forward to seeing other fans, the friends that I've made over the years. Despite having attended, I don't know how many virtual events over the past year and a half, I'm kind of feeling like, did I forget how to people? Because I can't remember the last time I saw someone who's not, a grocery shop clerk or member of my immediate family. It's been that kind of tiny little bubbles. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing everyone. And as far as planning for the conventions, something that I said earlier, keep watch of the postings in the group, because I'm kind of starting to check the website every day now, and the locals posting and taking pictures and trying to find out all the important changes that are happening. As more details will be known, it's all going to be posted immediately, I'm sure, whether in our group or in USS Rio. Again, can't wait to see everyone. Yeah. And Jesse, back to you.
Well, I will tell you, I've been fighting the past 20 minutes to not cry because, it worked. You guys got me all excited and lovey-dovey about the convention again. Thank you very much. I'm just telling you, convention for me has always been about people, and it's been about a family that I choose to be with and not a family that I have to be with. So that will always be my mantra. If you listen to this podcast enough, you'll hear me say that almost every podcast. I wasn't sure how I felt about this year, and I wasn't sure if I was going to make it through without some kind of emotional breakdown, just because I am such a people person, and Star Trek conventions do fill my cup too. So I'm just looking forward to seeing everyone, and I know that everyone there is just going to be seeing whoever we see, whoever can make it. Coming back together after this over a year of not being allowed to be together, I think that's going to be magic. And not to put a lot on it, but that will be enough to kind of take me to the next level where I can feel like normal is back. So that's me. I'm trying not. I in my head, I'm going, don't do a Heather, or you'll cry. Don't cry. so I've managed not to, but I'm telling you, you guys just opened my heart. All right, so let's, how can people find us? So let's, Heather, where can people find you? Or
I'm on the social medias at Batleth Babe. Find me there, or I'm lurking in the group and posting, 60 however days until, I think we're 64 days today until STLV. I know that thanks to Ron. Or are we 63, Ron? Which day are we?
It's funny. I tweeted already and I forgot. 63 days.
Okay, 63. Yeah, so we'll see you. I will be there. I should be there at both of the newbie events with a smile, looking forward to greeting all of our new friends that are coming, because new friends make me super happy, and I love bringing people into this convention. It is one of the highlights of going to it. So I can't wait to see you all there.
Great, thanks. And Ron, where can people find you on social media or wherever you want to find you?
So on Twitter, I'm at Trekker Ron. I'm currently working a lot. I have a seasonal coffee shop, but I'm making the time to watch one episode of Star Trek every day between now and the convention and tweeting. And then at the convention, please feel free to visit me. I will be in CG67. And just am looking forward to making a lot of new friends and seeing some familiar faces and having a blast this summer.
Great. And Yesenia, where can people find you?
I can be seen posting in the Star Trek convention. What is it called again?
Star Trek convention experiences. Look at you get a hang of it.
Star Trek convention experiences Facebook group. And I'm also in Body by Starfleet. And of course, I run the craft swap group, and that's about it.
Perfect. And Marina, where can we find you?
Yeah, well, Facebook, and as well as Twitter at Dracorax. I am on Instagram, kind of, sort of, but the first two are probably the best. And of course, as our longtime listeners know, we all, well, the four of us, Jesse, myself, Heather, and Ron, are admins of the Star Trek Experiences group, the former unofficial STLV. So, make sure to check us out. Anything that what we try to do is certainly to be helpful to anyone.
Great. And
yeah, Jesse, back to you.
Where do you find me? Oh, so I am one of the admins of the Star Trek Convention Experiences group. You can always find me there. I'm on the social media at Outrageous Okendo, and I've stopped spelling that. You'll just find it online, I'm sure. I'm pretty loud online. And I'm just so excited that we got to talk. I can't wait till we can talk again. We'll have to do something for vendors, and we'll have to do some more 101 stuff. I'm looking forward to it. Before we go, I want to let you know that Shore Leave is a part of the Tricorder Transmissions Network. And if you enjoy what we do here on Shore Leave or on any of our Tricorder Transmission shows, please consider joining our Patreon. You can go directly to patreon.com/the Tricorder Transmissions or visit our network webpage, which is www.thetricordertransmissions.com, and click on the Patreon link. Becoming a patron will always get you access to unedited and early release episodes, often with bonus material before or after the show, and an invitation to regular Patreon hangouts with the Tricorder Transmissions hosts and fellow patrons. We thank all our patrons for your support. And guys, thank you so much for joining us. Marina and I love you, and we can't wait to see you. And we just want to tell you to live long and prosper.
Yes.